Shabbat Shalom. It's been a great week, and I'm very elated. But to get to the point, this video is about the pros and cons of being a big man. Let me start with a very obvious pro, and then I'll go to the cons. Sorry, this is my wine evening of the week. This is when I usually make videos. I don't think it's because my own people call me Rebbe. I don't think this is called normal work. I might be producing something, I might be pushing buttons, but I'm not going to let the Talmudic I don't want to offend the other rabbis. I'm not going to let you dictate my actions. I answer only to God. Our people are supposed to only answer to God, not to you. We don't. We argue with rabbis all the time. That's the nature of my people. We only submit to God. We don't submit to rabbis. We don't give a crap about rabbis' opinions. Yeah, that's actually how we judge you. If you submit, like if you want to convert to Judaism, it's a rabbi's obligation to discourage you. Like, I want to convert to Judaism. No. And if you don't say, I'm going to convert to Judaism, tell me of the name of a rabbi that will do it. If you won't. That's how it goes, people. Anyway, I'm going to have a sip of my wine. This is my one. Actually, I'm actually only averaging, because we got Hanukkah coming up. I usually only average my necessary. Please, people, I'm a retired biochemist. Alcohol is an essential human nutrient. If you don't know that by now, you're really not well versed in all the subjects I am. So I'm going to take a swig of my Pinot Grigio, and like I usually say, why do you need glasses when you need a bottle? When you have a bottle? Let me start off with a pro about being a big man. Before just maybe one or two of them. Women love you, especially the smaller they are. That's actually part of the problem I've had with many of my women in my life is they're too small. They make me look like, I look like Chester the Molester with a little girl. And yet, in high school, one young Japanese girl who was just always throwing that cat at me, jumping on me, hugging me, and stuff like that. She just adored big, giant men. And ended up marrying a Polish Jew, light-haired like me and blue-eyed. Lived a long, fulfilling life. She's still alive. Kids, she's happy as a clam. She's one of the most successful of my old classmates in high school. And, it's just amazing. Gosh, she would just, every time she saw me, she would scream my name and run and just jump up on me. And she was only about like 4'11" or something like that. It's 5 foot tops. And I'm kind of huge. And please, I know I'm old and I'm old and less than attractive, let's say. And as a young man, I thought I was just kind of plain looking. But the things that women wrote, like in my yearbook and other stuff like that, they let me know how they felt about me. And it wasn't until I was like almost 40 years old that I really looked back and realized, at the pictures, I was a handsome man. So I know what it's like to be. Please, I'm a charismatic. My own sister said that. I didn't know. I know what it's like to be very attractive. I'm not now, but what the heck, you know what I'm saying? So, so that's one of the problems is that women just throw it, for big men, women just throw themselves at you because it makes them feel more feminine. As a matter of fact, one of my kind of rules is that if your butt cheek can't fit in this hand, I'm not that, although I've exceeded that. I had one girlfriend that was half black, Jamaican, half Scotch, 6'1", howitzer, bazooms. I mean, never seen any, I never seen breasts that big that weren't just atrocious, ugly veins, all kind of stretch marks. And anyway, my general rule is I like women whose butt fits in this hand, because women love you to squeeze their butt. Dude. Actually, one woman asked me one day, with her in front of her husband in Pickering Square, "Can I spank your butt?" And I said, "Sure." I'm being leaned over. She whacked at my butt, and I'm like, "Hey, that felt kind of good. Do it again." She goes, "No, your butt's as hard as a rock. It hurt my hand." I am still at my advanced age, still hard as a rock. Almost 7 minutes in. Now let's get to some of the cons. You know, tall people know that when walking, the length of your foot, it elevates you. You're not just 6'6" or 6'8" or 6'10". You become 7 to 8 feet tall. So you get a lot of bumps on the head from doorways, because a lot of doorways are less than 6 feet, and usually only commercial doorways can accommodate me, or are built to accommodate any size person or something like that, and all kinds of hassles with being. You have to go to the big and tall shop and stuff like that. And for me, especially as a young man, I hated going to the big and tall shops because I wasn't fat. I wasn't big. I was tall. Genetically, I'm a mesomorph. I'm in the middle. I'm a overly muscular mesomorph. Spent most of my life slender. And one brother criticized me because he said, I think this is going to turn into 2 segments. He said, "Why are your arms so small?" And my brother, at that time was all, in the NFL. And he didn't realize that big muscles on your arms make your combative ability slower. It's, heavily muscled arms move slower than mine. Those guys with them giant ham hock arms, they're slow. So let me try to move on. Actually, I'd like to get this in 15 minutes, but I don't think it's possible. Now, one of the downsides of being a big man is that whenever oh gosh, I got that on. It's not cold, but there's a slight chill in the air, and I'm a fresh air nut. The windows are open, at least one window open year round. Doesn't stop here where I live. It's not bad weather. When the feces start hitting the fan and stuff like that, everybody smaller than me looks to me and go like, "Hey," you can see it in their eyes, "Hey, big guy, save me, stop it." I have defended so many people. And one of the things that brings this up is that my recent viewing of a movie called Rise, where the star of the movie, it's a real movie, it's about a real case. He managed to survive 500 days in an Australian maximum security prison because right off the bat, a very big man who's not as big as me befriended him and later converted to, finally found religion, faith, and stopped his bad behaviors of a lifetime. Looked like 40 some odd years. But anyway, whenever the feces hit the fan, everybody looks at the big man to be the cop. Now, I've worked for 3 governmental agencies, been an officer of the court, stuff like that, probably. But still, every time it hits the fan, they look at you and scream for help. And it's in my genetics. It's in my genetics to help and defend people. Oh gosh, so many times, it's now thousands of times I've stepped in, risked my life, survived, but usually unharmed. Yeah, really. No, not really. When you don't count sports, or I caught a 38 slug in my shin. Got stabbed a couple of times, but no problem. I'm a very good fighter. So that's one of the problems of being a big man. Is like everything from like doorways and beds and shoes and clothing and stuff like that. The fact that society always turns to the big man to defend them. You do it. You look right at me and go like, "Save me, help save me, big guy." And I've done it. I've beaten down so many homicidal maniacs. And going way back to like my freshman year in high school, and he was a tiny little Jew. I've been, I didn't hurt him. It just scared him. But I take on bullies all the time. I beat down so many bullies and so like that. It's kind of my genetic obligation to do that. With every, well, not every, but with many exceptional situations about a person's abilities or stuff like that, there's these pros and cons, and that's what this video is all about. Is if you're a big man, it's like about. Actually, I think I may finish up here now. Early in life, and later I became absolutely unable because of aspirin-like drugs to consume alcohol. They inhibit the enzyme that breaks it down. It's alcohol dehydrogenase, something like that. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting old. Yeah, alcohol dehydrogenase, AD. Early in life, when I'd go to bars, actually, at one point they dropped the drinking age down to 18 in this country, back up to 21 and stuff like that. But I noticed I learned I had to teach my wife and other women in my life that when you go into a restaurant or any place like that, you don't get to sit with your face to the door. That's my job. You have to look at me. We get up against the wall, and you'll see my eyes constantly watching the crowd, and watching the front door for violent people. I had 14 minutes. It's called the trophy bull syndrome. Little tiny men, once they get enough liquid courage in them, will pick out the biggest guy in sight because they're pain free at that point and attack them. Then I have to wait there for the cops and the witnesses to say that no, the little guy started it. The little guy started it. I'm very leery of extremely, especially small men, because they usually start it. I'm going to go to 10 to 2 episodes.